All right, let's get started. I normally don't do this, but I gotta have my phone on me, guys. Just if I gotta cut this thing short around 2 o'clock, we may be getting some big news from the recruiting front. So, with that, we'll open it up. We're just kind of talking about last week. I thought last week's work prep during Thanksgiving was well executed by our players. Just meeting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were awfully physical, competitive practices. Obviously, we cut those guys loose, got refreshed for some turkey and football. That was good. Everybody but a couple guys made it back for Saturday night. We had some travel issues and got through that pretty good. And so excited about what we've done Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday. Today's a players' day off. It's a refining day for us as far as the game plan goes. The players had some player-only meetings. Really like how, we've taken advantage of the bye week. It's just as simple as that. It looks to be a group that's real spirited, that's willing to go out and compete right now still and be really physical in practice. So really pleased with those things that we've been able to get accomplished. Congratulations to all of our all-conference performers. There's obviously, we really don't talk about that stuff a whole lot, but I felt for a couple of guys, but I also seen a little bit of a chip on their shoulders with the way some of those results went. But we were most certainly well represented on that team, and then again today with the newcomer list came out. So really excited about the future of this program as well. Saturday. 12 o'clock, there won't be no easing into the playoffs here or sliding in the side door or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so just kind of a little bit of a message, hopefully to Bison Nation. I would be really disappointed, and maybe I'm shooting for the stars. We need 15,000 people in there. And I'd like to say thank you to Herd and Horns this morning rallied. Got me 100 gift cards to run around campus over at the Student Union, incentivizing the student body. The student body, there's momentum down there. I've got good news from that standpoint. Hopefully it's a dang party, but 15,000 people, and I kind of mentioned that because I think that's a difference-making crowd. It might not be a special environment, but it's a difference-making crowd, and we want to play with 12. Bison football is an unbelievable product, and it's something to be really proud of, but it goes to a whole nother level when the dome and when we're playing with 12 people and the atmosphere that they can provide and the spirit they can inspire the football team is game-changing. And it's a 12 o'clock kick. There's a bunch of football on Saturday. Heck, come to our game, go out to lunch, go out to eat, get to the basketball game. Athletics right now is a lot of fun. There's a lot of reason to get behind this program and support what's going on. There's a lot of believers in this program, and it would be really fun to see a really good crowd. It's an Illinois State team. This will be if they play the way they played the last time we played them, it'll be the second most physical game that we've had all year. Make no mistake about it. This defense sets edges and tackles the football as good as anybody we've seen, and that was a physical football game down there in Bloomington when we played them several weeks ago. And it was 18-15 game going in the third quarter, much like the 14-7 game it was 2 years ago. And so we respect these guys. They got an unbelievable leader. Brock does a great job with the defense, and then they're led by a quarterback that's well over 65%, honorable mention player in our conference that's had a big year. He's playing better. They've got more guys involved in the pass game right now than they had. When we were playing them, it was like, hey, go out there and stop their best receiver. Well, they had a freshman newcomer, number 84 is talented. They're doing some nice things, getting the ball out in the screen game, and they still threaten you with the RPOs. And so this should be a fun game. So Bison Nation, get out and support us. And once again, Herd and Horns, that was really cool what they did this morning. And, get the students there for the game, get them up to the dome, and they're putting some things on for them, and that was pretty cool. And so thank you for getting that done. And Brett Tervine and the team down there was really good, and that was just me asking, and pretty phenomenal. So with that, let's open it up for questions.
What changes in your mind when you see a team for the second time in the season, if anything?
I don't know. It's tricky. What could change is you could get all wound up and think about over game planning and thinking about out coaching people and all that stuff. And we want to out coach people. They do what we do and we do what we do. It's this time of year, you better think players over plays. And then I gave this some thought. That game was a meat grinder in there. Okay. So we have to find the vertical ball to Bryce. You have to find the 48-yard run that BK popped out of there on. You got to find the wheel route to to Raja on the sideline. You still need to find those big plays. I equate it, talked to Dave last night. You know, you play back-to-back, right? You play the same team twice in basketball all the time. Well, the first matchup, you make 18 threes. Well, in the second matchup, you better get 12 different stops or you better make those same threes, right? And so good, clean, tough football, not beating yourself and making the makeable plays, and then all of a sudden the ordinary play will become extraordinary. I think banking on that is really important. It's important that we play clean and disciplined football, you know, out there on Saturday, and then I like our chances, right? And I do believe this. I think our defense has a good feel for things, but there's a couple plays out there that they're going to have to go make as well. You know, it's not as simple as just line up and play defense and we're going to be great. And so execution is more important than diving into a whole new plan or a whole new way of attacking these guys. It's just not the way it is.
Tim, going back to your last point on the crowd, with Rittenhouse hasn't played her before, how big a deal could that be a factor?
Well, it can be. If we're all going to just, okay, you know, it's not that big a deal. I said it last year, right? It's a second-round game and all that. These guys are totally capable of coming in here and giving us more than just a tough game. They're capable of beating us. They got weapons on the outside, 2 outstanding running backs, and they're getting a third involved, a group of tight ends that catch it. So the crowd can make all the difference. You know, you talk about playing good, clean, tough football. I'm talking about getting first downs on every series that we get it. Well, what happens if the crowd makes a difference on 3 series? And those are field position changing things. That's unbelievably game-changing. And then on top of that, the crowd and the support here give us a chance to, when the moment's right, to step on the gas and to inspire us.
Finals for Payne Award, a comment on his season?
Well, it's really good. And you know, I did some comparisons all year on where he was at, and I was tracking him versus our guys. In several categories, he was better than anybody that we've had play quarterback here. You know, outside of hitting a little bit of a lull with passing touchdowns for a game or 3 or whatever it was, I think that's well-deserved. And I give a lot of credit to, is that the stats people or the people that recognize it? Because they're recognizing football and a football player, not just a stat line. Okay, and this kid's pretty darn good, and I'm really happy that he's a Walter Payton finalist.
Coach, all season long you talked about the growth of your offensive line, to see 3 of them get first team. What's that mean to see that they're buying in and producing on the field for you guys?
Well, those 3 guys have been first teamers all year. I think Nate Testa is the one that's taken the biggest leap here the last 2 to 3 weeks. And then it's, you know, Ryan's getting better every day, but he's a, you know, true freshman. Josh right now, you know, he did football activities yesterday, but hasn't been cleared yet. And that's, I'm learning that term more. I listen to the Green Bay Packers and the NFL guys talk about injury reports. You know, so he still needs to get medically cleared, but we're going to try to push him a little bit, and then we'll figure out, you know, the combination of the 5. But I think we had a really good idea of what we were going to do until Josh's ankle. And so tomorrow, that's a big discussion point, along with today when we have the strength and conditioning staff up to talk some personnel, big picture stuff moving forward. But the growth has been phenomenal individually. And then I got to be honest, Barika earned first team. That guy is playing. The last 5 to 6 games, I think we are seeing the best version of him. I don't think we've seen his best yet. But if he's decisive like that, now that he alleviates some pressure off of being perfect up front. Okay, I like the idea of Finn Diggins getting back. Whether it's 15 to 25 plays, that's a good blocker. Carson Williams, second team, he was recognized as a good. Okay, maybe we're about to hit our stride. But this is a really good defense, guys. That puts a lot of run-stopping pressure on you, that has answers because of the experience they have, and they've got the Defensive Player of the Year in NICAMP. So we're excited about the challenge. This is going to be fun.
You can't, obviously, speak in specifics, but just your view on recruiting and how, with that coming tomorrow, you making your decision as far as your contract and things like that, and just kind of holding down the fort until tomorrow. And obviously there are folks looking at your class, I'm sure, with you know what I mean, and just kind of holding it down.
I'm not sure I know what you mean anymore. This is not me. This is me and you connecting. I don't know if anyone's recruiting high school. We got a chance to get a kid, and I need to get on the phone with this guy. I think we can get him. That is not ours going into this. That would change some plans, potentially, how we handle January 2nd through the 12th. I want to recruit high school players. I think we're going to seal this class up, and we're going to be really happy with about the 49 or 50 high schoolers that we've recruited in the last 2 years, and that's a direct message to any fan that has a son. Bring them to camp, and we're considering high school guys. The whole month of December, okay, until January 12th, it'll be a little shaky and holding down the fort and keeping this thing steady. But the Green and Gold Fund made today, for some really good conversations where guys were really happy and excited. But we got work to do, baby. And it starts with winning. Winning heals a lot. And keeping this team tight and cohesive is critical. And then the next crop of Bison coming in to learn how to be a former Bison someday is just what we're doing right now, and I'm excited about it. I really like our operation with high school recruiting. A lot of credit to Pat Lilly and Cooper Madron doing a great job. And, Derek Lukin's helping with that. All hands on deck. But our staff has done a really good job communicating with these guys. This has been a very low-maintenance class. And not that last year's was high maintenance, or maybe it was the bulk of guys, but every time I get on the phone, Coach, I'm good, man. I can't wait to get there. I'm playing basketball. I ain't thinking about recruiting much. Nobody's reaching out. I think everybody's focused on the portal already.
Valley having 5 left out of 16, probably should have been 6. Is it stability? Is it resources? Is it, what is it?
I think it's the physical nature of our league. I mean, it really, truly, everything starts up front. There's a lot of good defensive fronts and a lot of good linebacker play in our conference. And I'll say, I wasn't surprised. I'm not ever surprised anymore. But I thought our 3 linebackers had a shot for all 3 of them to be first team. I think they should have been. But that's because I love our guys. And I love the improvement they've made, all those things. But when you started looking at that list, hey, that guy's pretty good too. That guy's, he might be the defensive player of the year. Okay, and so forth and so on. So when you talk about the defensive fronts that are in our conference and the physicality up front in the offensive line, those are game-changing things. Because when you add in weather this time of year, when you add in wind, okay, and you're not able to establish the run, or if you can, now you're dictating the terms of the fight. I think that has a lot to do with it. And then I think most certainly, the schools in our conference and the universities in our conference, I see more big time than I do low level. And they're doing a good job of providing resources for their football team and their coaches.
State's won 6 road games. What's that say about it?
Oh, no, you guys said that the other day, and I was like, holy smokes, what happened at home? But it says that they're a resilient group. I think there's a lot of veteran stuff on their team, along with a mixture of some young talent. I look to their leadership of their coaching staff, which, I know 3 or 4 of the guys pretty good. These guys can coach. I think it starts there, but then their leadership must be pretty strong. And if you look at the makeup of that, I'm sure it starts with Tommy, their quarterback, and then you go to night camp on defense. That's right there. That's a pretty strong outfit.
Where's McCaslin at right now?
He's going to play with a club on. I'm interested, I'm not a defensive guy, right? I don't know if he's going to have his fingertips or is it a complete club. What can he do best for us? Let's leverage that. And if there's any questions, let's play the other guys. But Kelton has been a rock star as far as coach. I'm going to lay it on the line for you guys. And, hey, thank you for everything the Green and Gold Fund has done. I'm excited to be a Bison. That's what's really cool about that kid. He's hustled back, and Trish and the docs got that stuff all done pretty quick.
You kind of expect Finn to be able to give you something?
Yeah, yes, Finn's going to go. I don't even know that. I believe Finn's going to go. Meaning he's practiced and he's went out there and he's fit his pads and I think in a 6-period team session yesterday, they pulled him out with 2 periods to go, so he got over two-thirds of the work.
Talking about Kelton and Toby, just in general, that pass rush group, there have been times where you have a Kyle or you have a Greg Menard and you get, okay, well, this guy's going to get us 10, 11, 12, 13 sacks this year. And that just hasn't been the case really either of the 2 years you've been here. It's been kind of as a group or as a unit. Are there advantages to that? And I mean, obviously you'd love to have a Buck Buchanan guy, but.
Yeah, most certainly. That might be a really good off-season study. I'm not sure if we're playing just more go stuff. The twist game or whatever with Kyle Emanuel or to hold back Menard on games would be a little bit foolish. I do think the RPO stuff of late, the last 4 or 5 years, really does take away your opportunity for sacks. But Toby's kind of getting hot. I mean, if you look at it, I think his number 8.5 sacks or something put him 3rd in the league. Pretty productive here of late, and I think that he's one of those guys I talked about may have a chip on his shoulder. Kelton has gotten some pressure, just hasn't always finished, but then you mix in Jack, right, who's flashed. Sten Bratton's flashed now. And then Keenan Wilson for an inside guy, 4.5 sacks or 5, whatever it is. I don't mean to be wrong on the numbers, but that's really productive stuff. And really pleased with his pass rush. I think Vanderpool's coming on, and so is Dutenheffer. Yeah, our sack number's fine. It's just more guys that are tied to that. You know, Donovan Wolin on blitzes, a linebacker here or there. I think we've had some real good timely pressures dialed up that sometimes hurt your pass rushers and free up the blitzers.
Describe the team's reaction after finding out your news that you got extended, what that was like.
I kind of walked in and, you know, the phone back and forth and this and that, and the thing was between Matt and myself talking. Well, I got into the indoor and like 4 or 5 kids, you know, had known, and then all of a sudden there's 8 or 9, 10 more guys walking through. You know, some guys are out there really early, other guys are getting taped still and that kind of thing. And just to get the knuckles and high fives and the pure joy of the smiles, like that they had some concern, you know, and just the fact that it looked like relief for the players was the most rewarding thing that came out of this. I mean, that's where it all starts for me, is the opportunity to coach in a community where it really, really matters, number one, and then be able to know you can impact and influence players to get better daily, and we have that. I mean, I'm not sure we're not at 100% of our guys are committed to being the best they can be, fundamentally, technique, improving, and that's really what all I've ever asked for, and so that was really cool. It was a cool reaction.
Coaches across the FCS level, you know, either signing extensions or staying. What's that mean to be able to see stability, you know, in these programs and build them out and the talent and everything?
Yeah, I'm not sure specifically exactly the other guys. I mean, you know, one's a friend. I think that just I will not speak for Brent, but it speaks for how him and I came up in this business. Both parties, both families want to be part of something that's a little bit bigger than just money or just wins and losses. There's a big picture to look at here, guys. And that's all I simply did. That's all I want to say is you just look at big picture stuff. Jill and I are unbelievably happy here. I don't know the other people's situations, but that means a lot to me. And I think good things will happen for us in the future right here. And I'm excited about that the most. And that's kind of all I've given. It's felt like a month has gone by and it's only been 4 days, but the relief factor in knowing exactly what we want to get done, you know, in the next 2, 3, 4 years is really, I don't want to call it relaxing. You guys know I don't relax, but man, we can focus on what we have to do to win, and we can have some fun doing it together. You know, I mentioned that many times to Derek Lang, Todd, and Matt, and like that was one of the things that was most important to me. You know, I love challenges, but
Everything's happening tomorrow, and the circus is going on. How would you fix the calendar? What would you do right now? Say if you got a blank slate.
it's tied to NIL. The way that's we're doing a good job. If you can continue to take care of the players and slide it up. Let's start August 23rd and let's play all the championship games on Thanksgiving, and let's rock and roll. And then keep the portal window right where it's at, but then just fudge a little bit of your spring ball work. You know, I know they've talked about that. You know, could there be 20 workouts between the spring and June? And then just kind of go from there and kind of maybe look a little bit. The NFL, I learned this from Coach Ferentz, so I'm just kind of repeating. The NFL has this stuff correct. You know, you tamper, you get fined. Okay, you do this, you do that, you get fined. If it's not in this window, okay, you can't do it. And so if we could just get some streamlined guidelines on this thing, right along with the money, I think we could do a lot of things that would be creative and fun. Something to that effect, though, Dom. College football playing into the second semester or right up against it is really difficult.
What can you say about Jalen Duffy and his career going through some injuries and now an all-conference?
Well, he is an all-conference type performer, and we've kind of known that. But Jalen's battling this thing of can he stay healthy and consistently do it. I think once we see that happen, you know, you're really talking about a kid that – and there's another one. I mean, I really appreciate his smile on his face. This morning talking to him, he's very appreciative. I haven't seen him or Jaquise, you know, attack each day as good as they are right now. They're in a really good spot mentally. It was really good to find out Duff went down to the Twin Cities to see some of his cousins for the break. He was excited about that. Jalen's a good football player, an aggressive football player.
With it being a Valley team, there's no worry of getting your team's attention, knowing full well what you're going to face on Saturday?
They just totally understand the physicality of it. I think in other matchups in the past, none of the stuff coming this year, there's always that question like, are they going to hit with us? Can they block with us? Can they hold up? Physically. Well, if we don't strap it up tight, put a little gas in our rear end, and make sure our cleats are screwed in, these guys will knock us back. And ultimately that's what this game's going to come down to is who can physically hit the football really aggressively, but then, displace and remove the line of scrimmage. Can we play on their side? And so that's exactly right, Dom. I think this game has their full attention, and they know we had to earn that one, and we had to earn last year's victory, and those things were not easy. Those were not 33-15 is not a representation of how that game went.
You almost like this better, where like there have been years where it's the Pioneer League champion or it's this or that, and they're, you're a massive favorite. I don't necessarily look at that, but this game, it's like no, this is a league opponent, and we're gonna strap in, and then the playoffs are the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that at the start, right? There's just no sliding in we got to be ready to go. These guys are well coached on special teams, very physical football team, and yeah, the part of the unknown versus some opponents that come from somewhere else can be exciting. I mean, the tournament's exciting. This is just, you get 6 teams in, there was no way to avoid not having to have somebody or 2 teams on your side. Illinois State's really good. A challenge, competition is why we coach. It's got our full attention, and I really appreciate how our guys have practiced, and they look to have a good look in their eyes.
Coach, I know it's not a glamorous position, but to see Caleb get first team as your long snapper, what's that say about your special teams? Eli as well.
I would typically vote for whoever's the best special teams units and who's given us the most fits, and then he hasn't had an errant snap in 2 years, and so he's been really productive. It's really good. I think those kids like that deserve that. A lot of the specialists come here for nothing. They get put on scholarship. They continue to climb. You get rewarded. And so I'm excited for Caleb. And I really appreciate his whole recruiting story, how late that was and all that stuff. So for him to trust in it and then get rewarded is a big deal.